Gamescom 2024 is just a couple of weeks away now, and it seems like this should end up being a pretty big event for both Xbox and Bethesda, which is probably why we're starting to see Bethesda leaks and rumors ramp up again. A bunch of new leaks around Starfield, its new update, and even its Shattered Space expansion just recently dropped. But we also got some Elder Scrolls leaks and even some teases of what else is going on at Xbox, including an unannounced new project at Obsidian that is getting some fans perhaps a little bit too hyped. And at this point, we've already heard how Xbox and in turn Bethesda have big plans for Gamescom 2024. This year will feature their biggest booth ever at the convention, with over 50 games being present. This Gamescom is a bit of a weird one for Bethesda because it very much so feels like they have to show us something. Indiana Jones, Starfield Shattered Space, and even Fallout 76's Milepost Zero DLC all just got pretty major new trailers at the summer showcase, but they were missing one massive detail: a release date. We don't actually know when any of this content is coming out, so it seems like their strategy now is to instead have a larger Gamescom presence with a whole second wave of trailers. And I'm guessing through these trailers we'll be getting a better look at gameplay and of course release dates for all of this content. And considering each of these already has a release window of 2024, it seems pretty likely that some of these dates might be very soon after the conference. And in addition to some of these trailers, there's also going to be exclusive looks at this year's Gamescom. It's already been confirmed that there's going to be exclusive theater presentations of Avowed, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, as well as Starfield Shattered Space. And considering how close these games are to release, I honestly find this all kind of shocking. I personally thought some hands-on, especially for games like Avowed or Indiana Jones, would be present at Gamescom. But instead, there'll be hands-on opportunities for Fallout 76's new Milepost Zero DLC and Stalker 2. I was actually able to play Stalker 2 myself at the recent Summer Game Fest over the summer, and my god, this game is gorgeous. It was a relatively brief 30-minute demo, so I honestly don't have that much to share, but one of the biggest takeaways was just how good this game looked. Fallout 76's Milepost Zero DLC is also out right now on the public test server, but one of the main features with caravanning is currently disabled, so you can play it, but not all of it. And it seems like it'll be that full experience at Gamescom, basically just getting to play the public test server, but in person at Gamescom. Indiana Jones and Avowed getting theater presentations does surprise me. There have been some rumors or really just high-level speculation that Indiana Jones could end up getting delayed to 2025, but now that Avowed was delayed to February 18th, 2025, and reportedly this is just because Xbox had such a busy Q4, it's not like Avowed is having more problems, but considering that delay, it seems way less likely now that Indiana Jones also ends up getting delayed. Unless we heard from Tom Warren of The Verge, Indiana Jones was targeting a December release date. So you have to imagine at Gamescom we'll be getting a bigger trailer for Indiana Jones. This game is a bit of an odd one where we still really haven't seen what it's like to just play the game. It's supposed to be this unique mix of adventure but also a bunch of puzzles in between, and I feel like Opening Night Live, which is on August 20th and kicks off Gamescom, would be that perfect opportunity for a more revealing gameplay trailer along with a release date attached to that. And it's likely a similar story for Starfield Shattered Space expansion. I think there's a pretty good chance we start seeing some news about Starfield's next major update as well at Gamescom, considering this is definitely one of the bigger ones adding in vehicles, but that update also just had some leaks come out around it. Just recently, we got a 4chan post claiming to leak some details around this next Starfield update, and very specifically, this is a leak of the new vehicle feature coming with this. So like, yeah, this leak is just a random 4chan post, but it did include a never-before-seen image of a buggy, the new vehicle that is coming to Starfield. We've already seen the buggies on a developer screen in a behind-the-scenes video, so we know this is legit, this is what it's going to look like. So considering they have this image of an unreleased buggy and it's a better view than we've ever had before, lots of people are taking this leak to be true, and yeah, I agree. Buggies are going to be an upcoming feature in this next update, and these are going to feature several different variants you can get. There'll be an open one like you can see here, but also a closed variant so rain doesn't get on you. Buggies are going to have weapons in Starfield, and these will rely on your skills. It almost sounds like it'll be a full-on cyberpunk, because apparently one of the laser weapons will have bullet time, as well as there'll be a different option for a launcher system in your buggy. Might be able to bomb entire towns in Starfield soon, which is amazing, as well as vertical and straight boosters are reported, likely quite similar to a jetpack that just attaches to your buggy and gives you a bit of a boost from time to time. NPCs won't be able to drive these new vehicles, but they do have slots for companions and even a special buggy that fits Vasco, and you can also drive around NPCs from rescue mission quests to get them home a bit quicker, as well as the NPCs will have special reactions for you doing things while driving around in the buggy like driving over mines. Lots of people were curious if the buggy would have to fit in your ship and have a whole custom section of your spaceship for storage, but no, this will be gamified. You just buy the buggy from a ship services tech, and then it'll spawn on planets as you land on them. The buggies themselves don't have customization options beyond colors, and there's no fuel requirement, as well as the buggies are invulnerable. But overall, these are described as working quite well, even better than horses in Skyrim. So it's 4chan, I would take this somewhat with a grain of salt, but at the same time, from what I've heard, a lot of this is actually pretty accurate, with the image basically being a big giveaway that, yeah, obviously this person knows something. But honestly, this all sounds pretty fun. Vehicles solve this massive problem in Starfield where you land and just need to spend 5 minutes sprinting somewhere. Having a vehicle now will introduce a fun factor where you could just mess around in that vehicle on the way, boosting around or maybe even taking down enemies or wildlife, so that moment of the game will be a lot more fun than just getting from point A to point B. I wouldn't be shocked if, just generally speaking, there'll be some open world fun with buggies just like you have in games like Cyberpunk or Grand Theft Auto. Although we also come to that weird Starfield problem right now where, yeah, this buggy sounds cool, it sounds exciting, but is it really going to save Starfield? This will potentially be one of the biggest features to ever get added, and while it does address one specific issue with the game, with this long walking, there are also a bunch of other issues on top of that. So while this update seems cool and exciting, I have to wonder if many people will actually return just for a vehicle. And the next big question is, when is this even coming out? Starfield's last update was about 2 months ago now, just after the summer showcase, but this was expected. Todd Howard mentioned that the 6-week updates would end. So now it being a little over 2 months and likely a bit closer to 3 months by the time this update actually comes out does make sense to me. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a trailer as well as surprise release of this update for Starfield during opening night live in a couple of weeks, because that's what they did last time and it ended up working pretty well last time around. But another leak lots of fans have been pointing to is this one from Oda on Twitter. It claims Starfield's Shattered Space expansion is coming this September, with a release date trailer on August 20th, and something titled Starborn coming in 2025. So this isn't actually a leak as some were interpreting and some posts were made about it, but instead this is just a culmination of other leaks as well as publicly available info. Like I mentioned before, Shattered Space dropping in September was reported by Tom Warren earlier this year, and Tom Warren is definitely a tier 1 source for this stuff. Just last week he leaked that Avowed would get delayed immediately before Xbox and Obsidian officially reported that. So saying Starfield is coming in September definitely seems pretty believable. That September date is a couple of months old now, so I wouldn't be shocked if perhaps it's a bit later. October definitely seems possible, but either way, it definitely looks like we'll be getting a fairly lengthy trailer at Gamescom, and Starfield Shattered Space expansion will actually be releasing not that soon after. The release date trailer coming on August 20th is just sound speculation. That's the day of opening night live, and yeah, it just makes sense. That's probably where the trailer is going to be. And lastly, the new grand adventure titled Starborn for 2025 is a brand new trademark that was just recently filed. In a recent interview, Todd Howard described how they want to start doing yearly story expansions for Starfield, described as a Far Harbor style experience on a yearly basis, at least as long as fans remain interested. And since they just filed this new trademark for Starborn in July, many are speculating that this is the name of the second expansion that is likely coming next year. Starborn are those who have gone through the Unity in Starfield. An entire expansion expanding that aspect of the game would be incredibly exciting and very interesting, but it also could be something else, perhaps a Starborn edition of Starfield or something like that. So we should start seeing and getting quite a bit new for Starfield in just the next couple of months. But also other games. If Gamescom isn't on your radar, it probably should be. In addition to indie Shattered Space and a deeper look at Avowed, we should also be seeing updates around Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which will get a release date around Gamescom, and this release date may be very soon. This game was just rated in Korea, and it is getting a massive media push right around the time of Gamescom with new trailers, gameplay, hands-on, and more. So it wouldn't exactly shock me to see this coming out in the next couple of months, hence the big push to get all of the marketing done now. Dragon Age Veilguard should also be present. Let's see how they hit back against some of the initial backlash from the summer showcases, as well as Stalker 2. This was just recently delayed, but it'll likely have an even bigger showcase as this is the final big stage before release. So as you can see, this year's Gamescom should be a real treat for RPG fans, even without any major surprise reveals being there. I definitely wouldn't say it's likely, but we did see that entry for an Oblivion remaster on the leaked Bethesda roadmap. If that truly is a 2025 game, it definitely could get a surprise tease at Gamescom, but I would put that at 10% or less likelihood. Bethesda has almost never done an initial teaser at Gamescom, and I really doubt they're doing it this year. But another interesting unknown is Obsidian's secret new game. Just a week ago, a new art director announced their role at Obsidian, only having started in July, and immediately on their LinkedIn we could see some kind of unannounced project. This of course started making headlines, and almost immediately after that it was removed. But it seems like the art director was hired for this new game specifically, going off those recent rumors that Xbox wants a new Fallout game out sooner, and the fact that Avowed seems to be transitioning more into a QA and polishing phase, and even the fact that the Obsidian studio head has been saying that they want to work on a new Fallout game. So many are connecting those dots with this new LinkedIn post to wonder, hey, could this actually be Obsidian beginning work on a new Fallout project? In all likelihood, I would say this is either Grounded 2 or just a general new Josh Sawyer game. His team launched Pentiment last year and likely moved on to something new. But Grounded also recently wrapped up development, so Grounded 2 seems like a very real possibility here considering the first game was such a success. This art director previously worked at Riot Games, which tends to have a more cartoony aesthetic, so to me, a Fallout game immediately seemed a bit less likely, but it certainly is possible. And as of right now, there's really no evidence one way or another. We know Obsidian's working on some kind of new game, and it could be Fallout, but it also could be a small project that has less than a dozen people on it. I would typically say we won't hear about this game for years, but we saw with both Avowed and even The Outer Worlds 2 how they got trailers super early on. So honestly, who knows with this one? I can't imagine it'll pop up at Gamescom, but it doesn't seem impossible either. And the Fallout TV show is this kind of weird X factor going on with the Fallout franchise here, at least potentially. All of the reports we've seen recently say the next season of the Fallout TV show will be out as soon as physically possible. I'm definitely thinking next year, 2025, is a realistic release window for season 2 of Fallout. And as long as the show keeps being a massive hit, the pressure is seriously on for Xbox to get something Fallout related out there. So while I do doubt this is going to be a Fallout game from Obsidian, this could be that wild situation where they just have the unique opportunity with the show to just throw money at a project to get it done. So I wouldn't say it's likely, but we are in that weird situation right now where all Xbox really has around Fallout is Fallout 76. And they likely want to have something at least to show or talk about around the Season 2 release. And honestly, right now, I would love to see somebody else working on Fallout that isn't Bethesda. While Fallout 76's previous DLC and even the next DLC look incredibly exciting to me, Fallout 4 is just rough right now. Bethesda broke the game in multiple ways with the next-gen update. Fallout 4 currently has game-breaking bugs that it didn't have before this next-gen update. But we are approaching 3 months since the last Fallout 4 update, and there hasn't been any movement on SteamDB in nearly a month. So while right now, installing mods that edit NPC face-gen data will make Fallout 4 stutter, and while I do find it hard to believe that Bethesda would just leave that new bug in the game, as of right now, I don't see any evidence of an update on the way. And yeah, I keep talking about this. I keep talking about the fact that Fallout 4 is kind of broken, but honestly, I think this situation is completely ridiculous, and I think the overall handling of the next-gen update by Bethesda has definitely been very informative for me. But speaking of Bethesda, we also heard about a new leak around the Elder Scrolls 6. One Reddit user discovered a Bethesda employee's Pinterest profile, and after following it for some time, discovered a very specific flavor of pictures being saved. This aesthetic seems to be pretty concrete confirmation that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be headed to Hammerfell. The desert landscape, weapon designs, and particularly the character designs are quite specific to that area in Elder Scrolls lore, so many fans are just taking this as a flat-out confirmation that, yeah, that's where we're going next. But also many immediately then concluding that if the Elder Scrolls 6 looks like this, there will almost certainly be some kind of controversy around the color of some of the characters' skin around reveal or launch. But if you are looking for more to get excited about when it comes to Fallout, check out this video to see major upcoming mods that you'll be playing later this year.